Hi, Professor Quigley's class. Thank you for sending me the questions. I'm really excited to share some of my experiences with you. I'm just going to go down and answer the questions in order. I wrote them down. All right, so the first one, you asked me how did I find this school, because Uzbekistan seems like such a small place. Well, I found the school through a job post on an internet site, Dave's ESL Cafe. The website's eslcafe.com, and it started out as a very small forum for English language teachers to just exchange ideas, but now it's one of the most popular job sites for English language teaching jobs all over the world. And I frequent that pretty often, just kind of seeing what's out there. And I saw what attracted me about this job post was that it said Uzbekistan. And looking on those job posts, over the last couple of years, I've never seen a job listing for Uzbekistan. And being that I was just in Kazakhstan, I was familiar with Uzbekistan because it's a neighboring country from Kazakhstan. So I thought I would see what they were offering. And they originally wanted a 2-year contract, but I negotiated and just got a 5-month contract. And I've been offered to stay longer. They've already asked me about staying another semester, and I'm interested, but I'm still trying to look into some other things. Maybe I should jump ahead to the third question, which is related to that. Someone asked me if I plan on staying overseas or if I ever plan on coming home to America. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know that I don't really have a home in America. I've been traveling a lot for the last 5 years. I graduated Rowan in 2008, and I did a study abroad program in Spain, and then I moved to New York City, and I was there for about 2 years, and then I started in 2010, traveling and teaching. But I have been back in the US between 2010 and now a couple times. I lived in Indiana for 1.5 years, and I lived in San Diego for the last 7 or 8 months before I came here. And while I'm okay living home in America, but I haven't really been able to find a good job that's full-time with benefits in America. So I go overseas to live cheaper and make money and try to save money. So if America ever offers, if I ever get a full-time salaried job in America with benefits, then maybe I will come back to America. And actually, I just got an offer this week, the day you guys sent me the questions. I had interviewed for a job at a school in San Diego in October. And they said they wanted to give me a job, but they didn't have any funding. They had to work out some things, and I've been back and forth with them since October. And in February, before I came, I emailed them and said, look, I'm still interested in working with your school, but I'm going abroad. I'll be back in the summer. And they just emailed me this week saying, hey, we know you're abroad, but we wanted to let you know that we have an official position and an offer to give you now that is salaried with benefits. We're looking for a June start date. Are you interested? I don't know how much they're offering, so I need to inquire about that, but I am interested. It would be part-time English teaching, part-time student services, which is something I'm interested in. Trying as well as being a student advisor for international students and assisting them with their time in America or assisting students to go study abroad. So I feel this could be a good move, but the money and the living situation here in Uzbekistan is really pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how much I'm making, but I'm making the most money I've ever made in a month, and I live for free. And it's not so bad here. I mean, it's different, but I like my work. I like my students. So it's really hard to make a decision. Stay here for a little bit longer or go back to America and start a real life and a real career. Yeah, I got to think about that. So I hope that answers your question. The second question was, what sports are popular here? And I don't really pay attention to sports too much, but I asked a colleague, and I had a feeling the answer was football/soccer, because most people call it football here, but in America we would say soccer. Yeah, you see people playing soccer all the time. There's tons of like little soccer fields around. All my students are big fans of the Spanish and British teams, but Uzbekistan does have their own football club and team, but I believe my coworkers said that they're just okay. They're not like the lower, they're not the worst, but they rank kind of an average in Asia. But he says people are fans of them, but they don't really follow them as much. So yes, soccer is the most popular sport here. Next question, what do you do for fun? How do I entertain myself? I make videos. No, I mean, I've been working a lot. Right now I don't have internet at home, so sometimes I stay later at work to use the internet and get things done. But I've also joined, I'm on the couchsurfing community, if you know anything about that. Couchsurfing.org, it's an online community of like travelers that travel on a budget, and you can host people if they come to your town, and it's like a cultural exchange. Or you can just like go to meetings and events and meet locals and other travelers. I did it in Kazakhstan, and I made like at least a dozen really good friends there. And I joined here in Uzbekistan, but it's not as active. I've met about 3 people. No, okay, maybe 4 now. I've been here about 7 weeks, but I've met about 4 people through couchsurfing there. 2 are local, 2 are not. So the local girls have, been able to share some things with me. They want to invite me over to their house and, eat dinner with their family. And so but honestly, I really only have time on the weekends. I've met another local woman who I'm teaching on the side also, and she has like kind of planned my whole social life here. She's been quite busy lately, but when I first arrived, she like whisked me away on a 5-hour road trip through the mountains to another town my first weekend here. We went shopping in a bazaar and bought all these like traditional fabrics, and then went to a designer and got this jacket made and another dress, and this was within like my first week here. So I found the local people are really interested in like showing foreigners around and giving them like really good experiences, and they're so curious, and just have lots of questions about what my country is like, and in return I get to learn so much from them. So I try to make fun with, I'm here to learn too, not just to like go out and party with other foreigners. I haven't really met another American here yet. I'm friends with another colleague who's French, and a Korean girl, but other than that, I work with a lot of Koreans too, because the university I work for is actually Korean, but all the students are Uzbek. But yeah, I don't really have any other Westerner friends, and it's okay. I'm enjoying learning about everyone else's culture, so that's what I do for fun, I guess. I do culture exchange. But I have seen a live band once, but there doesn't really seem to be a big like club or nightlife scene here. A lot of the women, people get married quite young here and they have kids, so not a lot of going out. I went to a hookah bar last weekend and smoked some hookah. That was kind of chill, that was nice. There were about 2 women in there, the rest of them were men. Okay, next question. What's the language like, and how do I deal with the language barrier? Good question. Yeah, Uzbek is the official language here. People do speak Russian as well. It was really kind of confusing when I first arrived because I didn't really know what I should be practicing or what I should say. I did study Russian when I was in Kazakhstan, and I studied Russian before I went to Kazakhstan for a little bit. So now my Russian is okay. I get around pretty well, like negotiating taxis or shopping, small conversation with like a 5-year-old. So it's been okay for me because I can use Russian, but I do hear people speaking on this, I hear people speaking Uzbek more regularly, but when they see me, I don't look Uzbek, so they would assume maybe I'm Russian or something, or like would speak Russian and not Uzbek. So it was kind of confusing hearing a lot of Uzbek, but then people would speak to me in Russian, and but once they also people a lot of younger people like around my age or a little younger do speak English. I think more people speak English here than in Kazakhstan, so they will try to speak English to you, of course. So it really hasn't been too difficult. I mean, yes, of course, like there are some things that are just not as easy, like calling anything on the phone. I usually have to ask for help. Like calling for a taxi or calling a restaurant or calling just like anything for some information, I'm more dependent on my colleagues, the locals, for help, but everyone's been so helpful. But most signs are in Uzbek, which are used with the same letters as English, so you can kind of try to read and pronounce things, but there aren't really street signs at all, period, so you just kind of have to know where to go. Next question, okay, so how do I deal with the language barrier in the classroom? And actually, it's really not that difficult here because I'm teaching English, I'm not teaching academic English, I'm teaching writing. It's a like English composition course, which we all had to take our freshman year of college. So it's that kind of class. I'm teaching essay structure, and we're reading different essays and analyzing them. So all the students at this university, they take all their other classes in English. They have physics and calculus and 3 different computer programming courses because it's an IT school. So they all had to have a high level of English to get in. They took English proficiency tests. So the language barrier really isn't that big of a deal. I speak pretty naturally in class. I mean, yes, there are grammar problems, but I don't find that the problems I have with the students are necessarily like their lack of understanding my English. I think it's more their lack of wanting to pay attention in class, perhaps, or yeah, just selective hearing, doing other things in class than paying attention. We're all guilty of doing that sometimes. But in the past, sure, I've taught all levels of English at this point. I've taught some like really beginners, and you just really, I use my hands a lot. I'm very, very active in acting in the classroom. I try to use some media, photos, videos, and just get them to be talking the most, as much as they can. I mean, I get that question a lot. How do you teach English when they don't speak English and you don't speak their language? And there's not really one specific way to answer that. We just do it. So luckily here, it's not a problem. I'm just like teaching a university course, and it's cool. Next question, how's the news there? This one I had to ask a colleague about as well, because I don't really watch the news or read the news here because it's not in English. I do have a TV at my house. I live in a house by myself that the job pays for. Okay, so I've turned on the TV several times and flipped through. I've seen maybe about 4 different news stations, and they look like, broadcast journalists, and but they're all in Uzbek. Every now and then I'll catch a segment in Russian, but most of the channels are in Uzbek. But so my colleague said that he doesn't read Uzbek newspapers. He reads like online news like from Russian sites like mail.ru or Yahoo. He says he doesn't read Uzbek news because it's very censored. He said that the news publishes all like world news, but if there's anything that would like shed a bad light on the country, they don't run it. So he doesn't like that aspect. So, but he did say there are daily newspapers, weekly newspapers, and monthly newspapers in all the different regions of the country. But I just only really spoke to him. But I don't hear people talk about like local news or world news in daily conversation so much either. So I'm not sure how in tune they are to what's going on, or I assume they use other websites, but maybe not any local ones. And the last question, what do I eat and how do I get my food? I go out on the street and buy my meat from the freshly slaughtered lamb, and I go to the farm next door and pick some apples and get some potatoes. No, there's a grocery store here. It's not exactly a ShopRite, but it's called Korzinka, and it's a brand that's apparently all over the country. And grocery stores are not as big here as in America, but it's pretty convenient. It's right by my house. Produce, meat, and toiletries and sweets. Oh my God, their baked goods here. Their bread is so amazing. I love buying fresh bread here. I don't really eat a lot of bread in America, but I eat a lot of bread here. I cook dinner every night. I go out with people every now and then, and if I go out to eat, I'll order local dishes, which are like rice or, well, they're very meat-based, very oily and meat-based. Some of their native dishes, one is called plov, and it's a rice with carrots and meat. It's great, but it's very, very oily. And same, they have a noodle-based dish with meat and vegetables, and also very, very oily. I like them, but my stomach is kind of sensitive. So at home, I cook mainly vegetables. Actually, I'm getting better at cooking, surprisingly, but I don't really eat a lot of meat. I like meat, I just don't really like to buy it, and mainly because I don't know how to cook it. So I eat a lot of vegetables, like sauteing this, sauteing that, random concoctions of things with rice and egg and vegetables mainly. But yeah, shopping is pretty easy. We do have to ask for things more, like getting meat. Well, I guess like at the butcher section at a ShopRite or something, you have to tell the butcher what kind of meat you want. So that can be a little bit of a problem here, not knowing the language. You can just point and like go like this though too. Getting produce is a little different as well. Like they always have someone working in the section, and you get what you want, and then you have to take it to the man and they weigh it and give you a price right there. I mean, there's nothing that has to be said. It's just like one extra step. And then when you go, so instead of them weighing your food at the cash register, they have a little section there. And produce is pretty cheap here. Some things are more expensive than others, but yeah, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I also do some shopping at a bazaar, which is like what we might call a farmer's market. Many people shop there, but I don't have one right around the corner like the supermarket. There you can bargain. You need to speak the language to go shopping there, because you tell them what you want, they weigh it, you negotiate a price. I've been a few times to some. I think they're fun, but they're pretty hectic, and as I said, you pretty much bargain for everything. But you can get like fresh cuts of meat and fish, and again, like fruits and vegetables and bread, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's kind of a special occasion for me to go there, because it's a little further away. All right, I hope that answered some of your questions. Wow, that was like almost 20 minutes. Feel free to send me some more questions sometime. And yeah, good luck in school. Pay attention. All right, bye.